I'm Nia Caldwell, 33 years old, and the strangest part about making it to the top is realizing who refuses to stand there with you. Before I take you into the moment that changed everything, tell me where you're watching from in the comments. I read them all. And if you've ever been the one people doubted, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Because this story is for anyone who learned the hard way that success doesn't always come with support. I stood backstage at the NASDAQ market site in Times Square, mic clipped to my blazer, heartbeat punching at my ribs. My company, Lumenwell, was about to go public. The screen behind the curtain flashed our opening valuation like a dare. $98 million. My husband Malik squeezed my hand, steady as stone, proud enough for both of us, but my eyes kept drifting to the front row. 4 seats. Gold placards reading family in thick black letters. All 4 were empty. At first I told myself they were stuck in traffic. Late flight, emergency, anything that didn't feel like rejection. Then my phone buzzed, a text from my father, Derek Caldwell. "You'll regret choosing strangers over blood. Don't embarrass us today." My throat tightened. Malik saw my face change and quietly said, "Check your sister's page." I didn't want to. I did anyway. And there they were, my parents and my sister Sloan, smiling in white robes at a luxury resort in Scottsdale, champagne flutes, raised like my dream was something they were celebrating without me. Sloan's caption hit like a slap, "Protecting our peace. Some people choose money over family." The stage manager counted down, 10 seconds, 5. The curtain started to move. I walked out anyway, alone. I rang the bell. Cameras flashed, confetti fell. People cheered my name like I belonged here. But the 4 empty seats screamed louder than the applause. As I stepped off stage, a producer grabbed my elbow, pale-faced. "Your dad just went live," she whispered. "He's telling people you stole from him." I turned my phone around. His live stream was already exploding with thousands of viewers. I watched my father's face fill my screen like he was sitting across from me again, back in my childhood kitchen. Only now, he had thousands of people listening. His voice was calm, practiced, dangerous. He said he sacrificed everything, that I turned my back, that I built my life using the foundation he gave me. Beside him, my mother Marlene sat with watery eyes, silent the way she'd always been when he hurt me, silent enough to feel like agreement. Then Sloan leaned into frame and sniffled like an actress. "She abandoned us," she said, "and now she wants us to disappear." The comments flooded faster than I could read. "Ungrateful. Cancel her. Parents deserve a cut. She's evil." Malik's jaw tightened. He didn't yell. He didn't curse. He just said, low and clear, "They didn't come for your moment, Nia. They came for your money." My phone vibrated again. A notification. Forbes just posted my net worth. And my father's livestream title updated in real time. "My daughter's millions, and why she owes us." The celebration at Lumenwell turned muffled, like the building itself could feel the shift. Employees were cheering outside my office, champagne popping, but inside the glass walls it was quiet. My phone lit up with calls from relatives who hadn't spoken to me in years, old classmates, people who once laughed at my little app. Then the text came, from Dad, "Family meeting, tonight, 8 p.m. Dallas. No excuses. Bring paperwork." It wasn't a request, it was a command, like I was still 17, like I still owed him obedience. Malik said, "Don't go." I stared at the message and felt something inside me settle, cold, sharp, clear. "I'm going," I told him. "Why?" "Because they think they're inviting their daughter," I said. "They don't realize they're inviting the person who's been paying for their pride." I forwarded the message to my attorney, Priya Desai, and typed 2 words, Cedar Ridge. "Print it." Priya called immediately. "Nia," she said carefully, "that file is the contract you told me was your last resort." "I know." There was a pause. "Once you use it," Priya said, "they can never pretend they were right about you again." I looked at my father's text, "You'll regret your choices." And I whispered, "Good." Priya said, "I'll have it delivered, but I need to confirm something first. Do they know who really owns that house?" I didn't answer right away. The silence said everything. Dallas air hit different when you drove toward a place you swore you'd never return to. We pulled into Cedar Ridge Drive at 7:58 p.m., my childhood home glowing warm and welcoming, like it hadn't housed years of silent cruelty. The porch was staged, new wreath, polished brass, a house pretending it was still safe. Inside smelled like fried comfort and manipulation. Marlene opened the door with a smile too wide, too late. My baby, she gushed, grabbing me like she'd never watched me cry alone. I didn't hug back. Sloane lounged in the living room with her phone held high, already recording. Her husband Gavin Vale stood near the dining room entrance, sipping something dark like he owned the air. Dad appeared last, Derek Caldwell, straight-backed, stern, proud. He didn't say congratulations, he said, sit. On the dining table was a leather folder placed like a weapon. Across the top, embossed in gold, the Caldwell Family Stewardship Agreement. Malik's hand found the small of my back. Dad said, "We're doing this the right way." Sloane smiled and whispered, "You'll regret saying no." We sat. The food was perfect, the table was perfect, the performance was perfect. Dad cleared his throat like he was about to preach. "I warned you, Nia," he began. "I warned you what happens when you chase selfish dreams. But you made it. And that means the family made it." I set my fork down slowly. "You didn't come to the bell," I said. Dad waved it off like it was irrelevant. "Ceremony, vanity. Tonight is what matters." He slid the agreement toward me. "This protects your assets," he said. "Protects the family legacy. Your shares go into a trust managed by a board." I flipped the page once. "Who's on the board?" I asked, already knowing. Dad sat taller. "Me, chairman, Gavin as investment lead, Sloane as beneficiary, you as beneficiary too." Marlene finally spoke, soft as a whisper. "It's for your own good." Sloane grinned. "And you'll get an allowance, like a grown-up." Malik shifted beside me, anger vibrating off him. I didn't raise my voice, I didn't argue. I just read, and I saw the line buried in the legal language like a poison needle. Transfer of voting control. I looked up. Dad's eyes were bright with entitlement. Gavin's smile was lazy, predatory. They weren't asking for protection. They were asking for surrender. Gavin leaned forward and said, "Sign tonight or we handle this publicly." Gavin tapped the contract with one finger like he was teaching me. "This isn't personal," he said. "It's wealth preservation. Founder types don't understand it." He looked at Malik with a smirk. "No offense, but your husband isn't exactly finance." Malik's knuckles whitened. I touched his wrist once. "Stay still." Gavin continued, voice smooth. "Women founders get emotional. The pressure is new. The world will come for you. Better to hand control to people with experience." "Your experience?" I asked, calm. He chuckled. "Wall Street." Sloane nodded like she was proud to repeat something she'd heard, not something she understood. Dad pushed the pen toward me. "You'll regret fighting us," he said. "I promise you." I picked up the pen, slowly, let them think they'd won. Then I set it down. "I have questions," I said. Gavin's smile twitched. "Questions are fine." I flipped to the fee page and read aloud. 2% management fee plus 20% of appreciation. Sloane gasped like she didn't know her husband priced himself like a hedge fund. Dad blinked like he didn't know what I was saying. Gavin said, "That's standard, not for family," I replied. I looked Gavin dead in the eye and asked, "So what's your last fund's Sharpe ratio?" He went still. The table went silent. Gavin opened his mouth, closed it, tried again. "Well, ratios are simple," I said gently. "Above 1, below 1, negative." His smile started to peel. Dad snapped. "Don't play games, Nia." "I'm not," I said. "I'm protecting myself, like you said." Gavin's voice tightened. "Forward-looking alpha is what matters." I nodded like I was listening. Then I turned one more page and froze. Because there was a clause, typed in bold, that claimed intellectual property contribution by Derek Caldwell. I read it twice. My father thought an algorithm was a phone app that tracked your steps. He called the internet the Google. I looked up. Dad's face shifted, just for a second. And that second told me everything. This wasn't written by a lawyer trying to protect me. This was written by someone trying to claim what wasn't theirs. Dad slammed his palm down and shouted, "That company exists because of this house, so you owe us." I stood. Not dramatically, not angrily, just calmly. And I reached into my purse. I pulled out a clear bag stuffed with yellowed slips of paper, receipts. I placed them gently on the table. Dad frowned. "What is that?" "My choices," I said. "In writing." I slid the top receipt toward Sloane. Her eyes scanned it. Garage rent. $1,000. Electric surcharge, $150. Heater usage fee, $50. Sloane's mouth opened. "You charged her?" she whispered to Dad. Marlene's face went pale. She looked like she was seeing a ghost of every lie she'd helped live in. Dad's jaw clenched. "It was to teach her discipline." "Discipline," I repeated, tasting the word. I turned to him. "So when you say I owe you because of this house," I tapped the receipts. You mean the house I paid to stand in? Gavin shifted, suddenly alert. His voice lowered. None of that matters, he said, because the public doesn't care about receipts. They care about the story. Sloane's phone buzzed. She looked down and smirked. Too late, I already posted mine. By morning, the clip was everywhere. Sloane posted an edited video, me standing, saying, I don't owe you anything. Cut to Marlene crying. Cut to Dad saying, after all we did. She captioned it, when money turns your sister into a monster. The internet ate it like candy. Hashtags started trending. Nia Caldwell exposed, boycott Lumenwell. My inbox flooded with sponsor concerns. My PR lead's voice shook. They're calling you abusive, greedy, unstable. Outside our building in Manhattan, paparazzi camped like I was a celebrity criminal. Then the email arrived. Formal, cold, deadly. Service of process. Caldwell vs. Caldwell, $25,000. They weren't just trying to shame me. They were trying to take my identity, my company, my future. Malik wrapped his arm around my shoulders. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just said, okay. Priya called and said, the board scheduled an emergency meeting without you. Priya laid out the strategy in her office like she was explaining a hostage situation. They don't expect to win, she said. They expect to scare investors. She read a paragraph from the lawsuit claiming Derek provided the foundational concept during a family cookout. I almost laughed. He still types with one finger, I said. Priya didn't smile. It doesn't matter, she replied. Wall Street hates uncertainty more than lies. My phone buzzed again. An investor email. We need assurance you won't turn this company into a scandal. I stared at the line until it blurred. My father had turned my achievement into a weapon. Priya's assistant rushed in. Gavin is contacting shareholders directly. In a glass-walled conference room, 2 board members spoke like they were doing me a favor. Settle, one said. Pay them something. Make it go away. I kept my face neutral. And if I don't? I asked. A pause. Then the other one said it softly. We'll have to consider whether you're still the best public face for Lumenwell. It landed like a threat. I nodded once. Understood. When the meeting ended, I walked out with my dignity intact. In the elevator, Malik whispered, they're scared. I know, I said. And fear makes people stupid. When the doors opened, Rafe Mercer, the investigator, waited with a folder labeled Gavin Vale, True Identity. Rafe led us into a quiet office in Brooklyn where data glowed on multiple screens like a heartbeat. This is Gavin's money, he said, pulling up wire trails. Shell companies, fake returns, new deposits paying old promises, a classic scheme dressed up as exclusive wealth management. And this, Rafe said, clicking again, is your parents' equity loan hitting his account. My stomach went cold. So they took money out of the house, Malik murmured. To fund the lawsuit? I asked, though I already knew. Rafe shook his head. To fund Gavin. I sat back, feeling the weight of it. They didn't just betray me emotionally. They leveraged their own home to destroy me, because Gavin told them it would make them rich. Rafe pointed to one line. He's moving cash offshore. That means he's planning to run. A radio interview aired. Derek announced the Caldwell Legacy Foundation Gala at the St. Aurelia Hotel in Dallas. He said it was to prove family unity and restore our name. Sloane posted glam prep videos like she was starring in a show. And Gavin sent me an invite with a note, come see how real wealth works. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened the gala's sponsorship page and bought the highest tier under my holding company, Harbor Atlas LLC, platinum sponsor. It included a keynote slot. It included microphone access. It included control. Malik watched me click confirm purchase. Are you sure? He asked. I looked at the confirmation email. I'm done defending myself, I said. Now I'm presenting facts. Priya texted, if you do this publicly, the FBI can move, but only if you're ready for scorched earth. Priya met me with a folder thick enough to feel like fate. Inside was a contract from years ago when Dad almost lost Cedar Ridge. I didn't bail him out as help. I bought the distressed note through a holding company, kept his name on the mailbox, and paid quietly, so he could keep his pride. Priya tapped the clause. You control the asset, she said. Legally. Malik exhaled slowly. So he's been calling you ungrateful while living under your protection. I nodded once, and something inside me hardened, not into cruelty, into clarity. Rafe called. Utilities at Cedar Ridge are about to get cut. They haven't paid in months. Cedar Ridge went dark. Marlene called me crying, voice shaking. Naya, please, we need help. Your father's blood pressure. I kept my tone calm. Call Gavin, I said. He's managing everything, right? She sobbed harder. He said it's a banking glitch. A glitch. That's what they called theft when they couldn't bear the truth. After I hung up, Rafe sent a screenshot. $310 wired offshore. Memo, emergency liquidity. It wasn't emergency liquidity, it was escape money. Malik asked one quiet question. Are you going to save them again? I stared at my phone for a long time before answering. No, I said. Not this time. Because saving them now would only rewrite their story into, Nia attacked us, then panicked when we were in danger. They wouldn't learn. They'd blame me for the bruise instead of the knife. I called Priya. Let the wire clear, I told her. Then call federal contacts. Priya's voice lowered. Once they move, it becomes real. It's already real, I replied. Rafe said, I found his old name and it's linked to an international fraud case. Fluorescent lights, hard chairs, no applause here. An agent slid photos across the table. Gavin's face, younger, under a different name. Priya handed over the proof. Ledgers, texts, shell maps. The agent said, we can arrest him tomorrow quietly. I shook my head. No, he studied me. Why not? Because he'll turn it into a misunderstanding, I said. And my family will still call me the villain. I leaned forward. I want you to arrest him where he feels untouchable. Priya watched my face carefully. The agent asked, where? I answered, the gala. The agent nodded once. We'll be there, but don't put yourself in danger. The St. Aurelia ballroom glowed with chandeliers, orchids, and fake legacy. My father sat at the head table like a king wearing borrowed confidence. My mother smiled like she hadn't cried herself hollow. Sloane shimmered in gold like a trophy. Gavin took the stage like he owned the world. Then I walked in, crimson dress, calm face, steady steps. The room shifted. Whispers spread. Sloane rushed toward me, eyes wild. What are you doing here? She hissed. I didn't raise my voice. I'm attending, I said. Family event, right? She blocked my path. You're not family. I looked past her toward the stage. I'm not here as family, I said softly. I'm here as sponsor. Gavin froze mid-sentence when he realized my face was on his donor list. I handed the MC my printed agreement. Platinum sponsor gets 10 minutes on stage. Non-negotiable. Gavin tried to laugh. Cute, he said into the mic. But we're on a schedule. I stepped closer, still smiling. Then check your own rules, I replied. He leaned in, whispering through clenched teeth. What do you want? Money? A settlement? Name it. I took the microphone gently from his hand. What I want, I said, voice calm and clear, is for everyone to stop investing in a lie. I nodded once toward the projection booth. The screen behind us flickered. The foundation logo disappeared. A bank ledger filled the screen. Payments to luxury dealers, sportsbooks, private jets, jewelry. Gasps rippled. People stood. Phones rose. Gavin lunged toward the sound tech, signaling to cut the mic. But nothing cut, because the mic wasn't his anymore. I pointed to one line. Dr. Hadley, I said calmly, you wired $50,000 last month. A man in the crowd stiffened. That money, I continued, leased the car parked outside. Gavin shouted, this is forged. I didn't flinch. Then explain your texts, I said. The screen changed. Green message bubbles appeared like a confession. Gavin's texts filled the screen, mocking my father as easy, calling my mother pathetic, bragging about draining their equity and getting thanked for it. Marlene made a sound like her lungs were collapsing. Derek stared at the screen like someone punched through his entire identity. Sloane whispered, no. Gavin screamed, she made it. She's using deepfakes. I raised my eyebrows slightly. Deepfakes don't move money, I said. I pressed the remote again. A passport photo appeared with a different name. A slide showed Gavin's face beside a second identity, charges, dates, an international warrant notice. A woman in the audience screamed. She recognized him. Gavin stepped backward, scanning exits like a trapped animal. Sloane lunged at him, grabbing his arm. Tell them it's fake. She shrieked. He yanked away like she was nothing. Shut up, he hissed. That one word shattered her fantasy. The ballroom doors burst open, men in jackets flooded in. The agents moved fast, sealing exits. The lead agent called the name on the warrant. Gavin turned to run. He didn't make it. Handcuffs clicked. Sloane screamed, collapsing into sobs. My father rose halfway from his chair, face purple with rage and shame, then clutched his chest. And collapsed. The room erupted into chaos. I stayed still. Not cruel. Just steady. The paramedics arrived, and my mother looked up at me like I was still responsible for saving them. The hospital was too bright, too clean for the mess they'd made. Derek woke with an oxygen mask and one fear in his eyes. He didn't ask if I was okay. He didn't say sorry. He whispered, "The house? Did we lose the house?" It landed like proof that even dying didn't change entitlement. Marlene watched me like she was waiting for me to fix it. I didn't punish them. I didn't gloat. I simply said, "Focus on healing. We'll discuss living arrangements later." Priya walked in holding a folder thick with paper and said, "It's time to show them the contract." In the quiet of Derek's hospital room, Priya placed the document on his tray. "A lease, not a deed." I explained it plainly. "I purchased the Cedar Ridge note years ago. I protected them quietly. The house was mine legally. They could stay, but under conditions. No interviews. No harassment, no money demands, and Sloan didn't live there." Derek's hands shook as he read the clause that flipped his world. "You'll regret your choices," he whispered again, except now it sounded like a prayer, not a threat. I met his eyes. "You were wrong," I said calmly. "I regret nothing. The contract proved it." He signed because reality gave him no alternatives. I closed the folder. Malik took my hand, and we walked out, lighter than we'd arrived. Outside the hospital, the air felt like freedom, expensive, earned, and finally mine. A month later, I stood in my Manhattan office with Priya reviewing final settlements. Gavin faced federal charges in 3 states. Sloan moved into a studio apartment in Dallas, working retail for the first time in her life. My parents stayed in Cedar Ridge under my terms. Derek no longer gave interviews. Marlene sent occasional texts, short, careful, almost respectful. The board at Lumenwell issued a formal apology. Stock prices stabilized, investors returned. But the real victory wasn't the money. It was waking up without the weight of their expectations crushing my chest. Malik asked one morning over coffee, "Do you think they understand now?" I looked out at the city skyline. "They understand consequences," I said. "Understanding love will take longer." "Will you give them that time?" he asked. I considered it. "Maybe," I said. "But on my terms. Always on my terms." That evening, I received a package at the office. No return address. Inside was a handwritten letter from Sloan. "Nia, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect anything. I just want you to know I see it now. What you built, what I destroyed. What you still protected despite everything. I'm sorry doesn't cover it, but I'm saying it anyway. Maybe one day I'll earn the right to say it to your face." As I folded the letter carefully, Malik watched me. "What will you do?" he asked. "Nothing yet," I said. "Words are easy. I need to see if she backs them up with action." But I kept the letter. Not as proof of her guilt. As proof that change, however small, was possible. 3 months after the gala, Lumenwell announced a partnership with the Caldwell Foundation for Women in Tech. A real foundation this time, funded entirely by me, named after the family I should have had. The press asked if my parents were involved. I smiled and said, "They inspired it." What I didn't say was that inspiration came from showing me exactly who not to become. I built scholarships for daughters whose parents doubted them, mentorships for founders told they weren't finance material, housing grants for women escaping families who weaponized shelter. Every dollar I gave away felt like freedom I was buying for someone else. On the 1-year anniversary of the IPO, Malik and I returned to the NASDAQ. This time, all 4 family seats were filled by my team, my mentors, my chosen family. As I rang the bell again, I thought about my father's warning. "You'll regret your choices." I looked at the people who stood with me, who believed in me, who never asked me to be smaller so they could feel bigger. And I realized he was right about one thing. I did make a choice. I chose myself. And I regretted nothing. The contract proved them wrong. But more than that, it proved I was right. The end.